10 Best Performed Matches of CM Punk in WWE. CM Punk wasn't just a wrestler, he was a movement. Love him or hate him, when Punk stepped in that ring, you felt something.
I am the best.
Let's take a look back at 10 of the best matches where CM Punk proved he's truly one of the greatest to ever do it. At first, we have CM Punk versus John Cena. Money in the Bank 2011. This match wasn't just about the WWE title. It was about everything that made pro wrestling feel real again. From the moment Punk's entrance music hit and the Chicago crowd erupted, it was clear this was no ordinary main event. The Allstate Arena became a battleground of passion, with Punk treated like a hometown god, and Cena, the eternal company man, stepping into hostile territory. Punk's pipe bomb promo weeks earlier had ignited a firestorm, blurring the lines between reality and storyline. He made fans believe that he was walking out of WWE with the championship, and that he deserved to. That belief gave the match stakes no script could fake. The match itself was a masterclass in psychology and pacing. Cena played the role of the resilient champion trying to hold his ground, while Punk embodied the hungry, underestimated rebel. From counters to near falls, ebb and flow of this 33-minute classic had the crowd biting on every move. Highlights include Cena's desperate STF attempts, Punk's signature high-flying and technical offense, and the moment Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis appeared to orchestrate a screw job, echoing Montreal. But Punk wasn't having it. He escaped Cena's clutches, nailed the GTS, and shocked the world by pinning Cena clean. Then, with a sly smirk, he blew a kiss to Vince and exited through the crowd with the WWE Championship in hand. Why it's one of the best. Unmatched crowd energy. You could feel Chicago breathing with Punk. Flawless in-ring storytelling that paid off a months-long build-up, a shocking finish that redefined what real could feel like in WWE. This wasn't just CM Punk's best match. It was one of the most important moments in modern wrestling history, a perfect blend of drama, work rate, and emotion that still gives fans chills years later. CM Punk versus Chris Jericho, WrestleMania 28. This was more than a title defense. This was a battle of pride, ego, and personal demons aired out on the grandest stage of them all. Leading into WrestleMania 28, the feud between CM Punk and Chris Jericho turned deeply personal. Jericho didn't just want the WWE Championship, he wanted to break Punk mentally and emotionally. He targeted Punk's family, calling out his father's alcoholism and his sister's drug addiction, mocking Punk's straight-edge lifestyle. The goal was simple: push Punk to lose control and get disqualified, because if he did, he'd lose the title. That added stipulation injected a beautiful tension into this match. Punk had to walk the line between rage and restraint, and that's exactly what made it so brilliant. The match started slow and methodical, building like a chess match between two technical masters. Jericho played the manipulator, taunting Punk constantly, even slapping him, trying to provoke a DQ. Punk sold the internal struggle perfectly, teetering on the edge of snapping while still clinging to his championship dreams. What followed was a near 30-minute clinic in wrestling psychology. Every hold, reversal, and counter felt calculated. Jericho worked Punk's back mercilessly, softening him for the walls of Jericho. Punk, meanwhile, countered with hard-hitting strikes and submissions of his own, looking for the right opening to lock in the Anaconda Vice. The crowd, though not as rabid as in Chicago, stayed invested because the stakes were crystal clear. If Punk lost control, he lost everything. In the final stretch, after a wild exchange of counters and near finishes, Punk managed to trap Jericho in the Anaconda Vice once more. This time, Jericho had nowhere to go. He tapped out. Why it's one of the best. Pure technical wrestling elevated by real emotional stakes. Psychological tension from start to finish. Would Punk snap or not? A clean, definitive win on the biggest stage, proving Punk's dominance. This match may not have had the crowd energy of Money in the Bank, but it was a wrestler's match through and through. CM Punk not only defended his title, he proved he could rise above the mind games and stay the best in the world, with honor. CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan over the limit. 2012, if you ever needed proof that wrestling, not just sports entertainment, could thrive in WWE, this match was Exhibit A. This wasn't built on blood feuds, backstage politics, or wild gimmicks. It was built on something better. Two of the best technical wrestlers in the world fighting for the most prestigious prize. Punk was the WWE champion in his historic reign. Bryan had just shed the goofy yes chance, becoming a thing of legend, and was hungry for redemption after the 18-second WrestleMania loss. The moment the bell rang, fans knew they were in for a special kind of war, one of holds, counters, submissions, and counters to the counters. Punk and Bryan painted a masterpiece in the ring, a technical back-and-forth battle that felt like a main event from Ring of Honor dropped into WWE's main roster. Chain wrestling, submissions, stiff kicks, flying elbows, surfboards, this match had it all. Both men knew each other so well that the story wasn't just who could win, but who could outthink the other. The crowd may not have been the loudest, they were dialed in, watching every hold and every transition submission with awe. Midway through the match, Bryan zeroed in on Punk's ribs and back, systematically trying to wear him down for the yes lock. Punk, meanwhile, used his agility and striking to keep Bryan off balance, landing big-time top rope moves and even teasing a GTS at various points. The finish, oh, it was beautiful. After nearly 25 minutes of non-stop excellence, Bryan locked Punk in the yes lock. Punk rolled his weight back on Bryan's shoulders, and in a blink, the ref counted the pin. Bryan's shoulders were down. 1, 2, 3. But here's the twist. Punk tapped just after the 3 count. Why it's one of the best. In-ring storytelling at its purest. No gimmicks, just two masters of their craft. A clever, debated finish that protected both men and begged for a rematch. A showcase of true wrestling excellence rarely seen on WWE PPVs at that time. This match was proof that you didn't need a hot crowd or an over-the-top feud. Just give Punk and Bryan a ring and let them go. And they gave us a match fans still revisit to this day. CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam 2013. This match was violence meets storytelling at its absolute best. The build wasn't just physical, it was personal. This was the climax of the fallout between Punk and Paul Heyman, a man who once claimed to be like a father to him. After turning on Punk at Money in the Bank, Heyman brought in his monstrous insurance policy, Brock Lesnar. The match was sold as the best versus. The Beast and Man did it deliver. From the first bell, it was chaos. Brock Lesnar wasn't just trying to win, he was trying to destroy. Punk, on the other hand, knew he couldn't overpower Brock, so he relied on speed, technique, and most importantly, heart. And that's what made this match so compelling. Punk never stopped fighting. Even when Lesnar ragdolled him like a lightweight, the Staples Center crowd was hot. Every time Punk mounted a comeback, they erupted. Every time Brock suplexed him across the ring, they groaned. The dynamic worked perfectly. Lesnar's brute force versus Punk's resilience and ring IQ. And let's not forget Paul Heyman's presence. His interference added a constant layer of tension. You wanted Punk to shut him up. Every time he got his hands on Heyman, the crowd lost it. This wasn't just chair shots and high spots. It was an emotional war. Punk gave everything. He hit a huge top rope elbow with a chair. He reversed the F5 into a DDT. He even locked in the Anaconda Vice and had Lesnar scream in Mindzeech until Heyman interfered again. In the end, Punk got distracted for just 1 second too long trying to take out Heyman, and it cost him. Lesnar nailed a thunderous F5 onto a steel chair for the win. Why it's one of the best. Incredible underdog storytelling with real emotion behind every move. A brutal showcase of physicality that showed Punk could hang with anyone, even Brock. One of Lesnar's best matches ever, and arguably his most balanced in terms of back and forth. CM Punk may not have walked away with a win that night, but he walked away with something bigger. Respect from the fans, from Lesnar, from anyone who questioned his toughness. This was Punk proving that he could take the worst beating of his life and keep getting up. CM Punk versus The Undertaker WrestleMania 29 review-style breakdown. This wasn't just a match. It was a clash of legacy versus defiance. A disrespectful Punk, fresh off losing his 434-day title reign, determined to end the most sacred streak in WWE history. And wow, did he bring the fire? The build-up was controversial and uncomfortable by design. Paul Bearer, Undertaker's longtime manager, had just passed away in real life, and WWE leaned into it. Punk mocked the dead, stole the urn, and disrespected Taker at every turn. It was heat at its peak, and Punk played the role of arrogant antagonist perfectly. But the real question was, could he actually back it up? The match opened with high energy and a near unhinged Punk, bouncing off the ropes with zero fear. Taker, as always, had his legendary, slow, methodical presence, but this match didn't drag, it moved, and that's what made it stand out. Punk controlled large parts of the bout. He worked smart, targeting Taker's arm to weaken the chokeslam and Hell's Gate. He hit high-risk moves like the Macho Man elbow off the top rope to the announcer's table, which didn't break. Ouch. His timing, precision, and psychology were near perfect. There were so many heart-stopping near falls. Punk hitting the GTS, Undertaker hitting the tombstone, then Punk countering the Hell's Gate into a pin, then into the Anaconda Vice. Each moment layered more and more tension. But as always, the streak wouldn't die. In the final stretch, Punk went for a second GTS, but Taker reversed it into a second devastating tombstone piledriver. 1, 2, 3, 21-0. The streak survived. Why it's one of the best. Punk stood toe-to-toe with the most iconic figure in WrestleMania history and made it feel like he could win. Match of the night on a card filled with stars. It outshined the main event. Peak heel work and elite ring psychology from Punk. Proof Punk was the real deal, even without a title or a win. This match was Punk's final WrestleMania moment, and he made sure it was unforgettable. In many fans' eyes, this was the last great WrestleMania match before Punk walked out of WWE less than a year later. CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, SummerSlam 2009. TLC match. If there's one word to describe this this match, it's personal. By the time SummerSlam rolled around, the feud between CM Punk and Jeff Hardy had gone way beyond the title. This was about lifestyle, respect, and identity. Punk, in his straight-edge arrogance, was sick of Jeff's reckless ways. He wasn't just fighting Jeff, he was trying to save WWE from people like Jeff. Meanwhile, Hardy wore his heart on his sleeve, representing the free-spirited, flawed hero that fans connected with. The stipulation? Tables, ladders, and chairs. A playground made for chaos, and tailor-made for Jeff Hardy. Right from the start, this match was explosive. Punk was vicious and calculated, trying to ground Jeff and limit his aerial offense. But Jeff came in like a wild flame, tossing his body into ladders, diving off chairs, and risking everything to hold on to the title. Some of the spots in this match were insane. Jeff hitting a whisper in the wind off a ladder. Punk crashing through tables mid-air. Jeff performing a swanton bomb from the top of a 20-foot ladder onto Punk, who was laid out on the announce table. One of the most iconic images of that era. The crowd went silent for a second, not in boredom, but in disbelief. But that one move cost Jeff. After barely crawling back into the ring, he tried to climb, and Punk, battered and bleeding, met him at the top. They fought, teetering in exhaustion, and finally, Punk knocked Hardy off and pulled down the title. CM Punk became the new World Heavyweight Champion. And then came The Undertaker. Lights out, bell tolls. Taker stands where Hardy once laid. That post-match moment sent shockwaves through the crowd, but it was Punk who left the biggest mark that night. Why it's one of the best. Unreal chemistry between two completely opposite characters. Emotional storytelling built over months of real-life references and tension. One of the best TLC matches ever, with Jeff at his most fearless and Punk at his most ruthless. That swanton bomb off the ladder burned into every fan's memory. This wasn't just the end of a title reign. It was the end of Jeff Hardy's WWE run for several years. Punk didn't just win the belt. He outlasted and outplayed one of the most beloved stars of the era. CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio. Capital Punishment 2011. By the time Capital Punishment 2011 arrived, CM Punk was on the verge of becoming the most talked about man in wrestling. Just 8 days later, he delivered the legendary pipe bomb promo. But this match with Rey Mysterio, it was the perfect preview of just how good Punk could be when the spotlight was just about the wrestling. No stipulations, no titles, just two of the smoothest performers in WWE history going one-on-one, and it delivered. This was a battle of contrast and precision. Rey brought the speed, the agility, the lucha libre instincts. Punk brought the counters, the psychology, and the constant threat of the GTS. And here's the kicker. There was no dead weight in this match. Every move mattered. Every counter had a purpose. From Punk catching Rey mid-springboard to Rey flipping out of Punk's suplex attempts, the rhythm was relentless. Punk also sold like a master. Every 619 attempt felt like a potential match ender. And every time Rey built momentum, Punk cut it off just in time, using his size, timing, and ring IQ. The finish, a chef's kiss. After a fast-paced sequence where Rey hit a 619 and went for the splash, Punk got the knees up, popped Rey onto his shoulders in one fluid motion, and nailed the go to sleep. Clean, no cheating, no drama. Just a smart, brutal counter and a statement win. Why it's one of the best. Flawless execution. This was pure wrestling, no gimmicks, and both men were at their peak. A rare, clean win for Punk that added to his momentum heading into the summer of Punk. Subtle storytelling, Punk needed this win. It reminded fans that he wasn't just a mic wizard, he was a ring general. This match isn't always talked about in CM Punk's top 10, but it absolutely deserves to be. It's a hidden gem that showed just how versatile Punk really was. No tables, no blood, no pipe bombs, just two pros telling a perfect story inside the ropes. CM Punk versus Dolph Ziggler, Royal Rumble 2012. By Royal Rumble 2012, CM Punk had become the guy. He wasn't just riding the wave of the summer of Punk anymore. He was carrying the WWE Championship, credibility, edge, and attitude. Enter Dolph Ziggler, one of the most athletically gifted superstars on the roster, looking to finally prove he belonged at the main event level. But it wasn't just Punk versus Ziggler, it was Punk versus Ziggler and John Laurinaitis, the then general manager, who had it out for Punk from the start. This match had layers. In-ring action, smooth, crisp, technical, and fast-paced. Storytelling, tension between Punk and Laurinaitis played out every near fall. Psychology, Punk sold the urgency like a true champion on the run. The match itself was a showcase of Ziggler's athleticism and Punk's ring IQ. Ziggler bumped like a madman, flipping, twisting, and selling every kick and clothesline as if it ended his soul. Punk, meanwhile, kept things grounded with submissions, slams, and a clear goal. Retain the title, no matter what distractions Laurinaitis threw his way. There was a great sequence moments where Punk had Ziggler pinned twice, but Laurinaitis conveniently missed the count, stoking the fire between them. But even with all the outside drama, Punk didn't crack. He stayed locked in, fighting back from Ziggler's zigzags and sleeper holds, and finally nailed the GTS, getting the clean win right in front of a reluctant Laurinaitis. Why it's one of the best. Fantastic ring chemistry. Punk and Ziggler made every minute of this 15-plus minute match count. It was a masterclass in selling and pacing. Ziggler looked like he belonged, and Punk looked like a champion determined to survive. The drama with Laurinaitis added just enough spice without overshadowing the in-ring brilliance. This was the match that told the world CM Punk's reign wasn't a fluke, it was just getting started. CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio, Survivor Series 2011. This wasn't just a title match. This was CM Punk's redemption arc, playing out under the bright lights of Madison Square Garden, where legacies are written in stone. After the red-hot summer of Punk and that electric win over John Cena at Money in the Bank, Punk's momentum cooled thanks to WWE's awkward booking. He briefly lost the title to Del Rio thanks to a cash-in and corporate interference, and fans feared the magic might be fading. But Survivor Series 2011, Punk took it all back and looked cooler, sharper, and more in control than ever. From the jump, this match was about respect. Del Rio came in as the smug, aristocratic champion, a man of destiny. Punk came in as the cult hero, hungry, grounded, and laser-focused. And with the Garden crowd firmly behind him, chanting CM Punk from the start, it felt like a homecoming. This wasn't Punk's flashiest match, but it was one of his most complete performances. Technically sound, story-driven, filled with drama and urgency. He sold his ribs, countered Del Rio's submissions, and slowly chipped away at the champ. Del Rio targeted Punk's arm for the cross arm breaker, and Punk had to dig deep to escape, turn the tide, and stay alive. The finishing stretch? A beauty. Punk reversed a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, slipped in ahead, and locked in the Anaconda Vice. Del Rio fought, clawed, screamed, and tapped out. The Garden exploded. CM Punk was WWE champion again, and in a beautiful touch of punk rock rebellion, he celebrated by jumping into the crowd, belt held high, soaking in the moment like a true people's champ. Why it's one of the best. It marked the start of Punk's historic 434-day title reign. He won in MSG, the most iconic arena in pro wrestling history. The emotion, storytelling, and execution were flawless. Felt like vindication. Punk wasn't just the hottest act, he was the rightful face of the company. This match signaled the return of the real CM Punk, the one who kicked down the door, changed the game, and didn't look back. CM Punk versus John Cena versus Big Show. SummerSlam 2012 review style breakdown. By SummerSlam 2012, CM Punk was deep into his record-breaking title reign, but something had changed. He was no longer the rebellious underdog. He was the champion trying to hold on, while slowly turning the fans against him. This triple threat wasn't about just retaining the gold, it was about respect. Punk had started feeling overlooked, especially with The Rock looming and John Cena still dominating headlines. Add the Big Show into the mix, a legit giant and constant threat, and this match became a war of power, pride, and perception. In terms of layout, this match worked beautifully. Big Show dominated early with sheer strength, tossing both Cena and Punk like ragdolls. Cena brought the hustle, the comeback, and the crowd energy. Punk, he was the strategist, waiting, capitalizing, outsmarting. What made this match shine wasn't just the chaos, but how Punk stayed the thread, holding it all together. He kept sliding in at the perfect moments, breaking up pins, landing kicks, and countering big power spots with speed and precision. One highlight, Big Show had both men down and seemed unstoppable until Punk and Cena teamed up in desperation, taking the giant out long enough to turn on each other again. The finish was chaotic but smart. Cena locked Big Show in the STF and Show tapped out, but so did Punk at the same time. The ref couldn't decide who the winner was. After a brief pause, Raw GM AJ Lee restarted the match, and Punk swooped in to steal the win, hitting the GTS on Big Show while Cena was still catching his breath. Why it's one of the best. It told a multi-layered story. Punk as the crafty champ, Cena as the crowd favorite, and Show as the unstoppable force. It marked the turning point in Punk's character arc, slowly edging toward heel territory. The match had fast pacing, smart spots, and perfect timing from all three men. It showed that Punk could thrive even in a chaotic triple threat environment. And above all, it proved that CM Punk wasn't just a one-match wonder or a loudmouth rebel. He was a champion who could win, and win smart. That's a wrap on our countdown of CM Punk's best matches in WWE. From iconic moments to unforgettable performances, Punk's journey is a testament to his commitment to storytelling, athleticism, and making history in the ring. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into wrestling history. Stay tuned for more content and keep the conversation going.